Welcome, everyone. I'm Sergeant Chelsea Baker.
And I'm Specialist David Erskine.
And we are still continuing the 31 video content. What are we calling it? Like, every time we do one of these, I don't know what to say. Like, what are we calling it?
31 days of video content. Don't make it complicated,
Okay,
Baker.
true.
Don't make it complicated.
I still don't understand where the madness came from, where you thought that this was going to be a good idea.
I have no clue. Things just come to me. It's a gift, really. Burden. Who knows?
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
But so obviously, like I said, we're in the month of March, and one of the big things in March is Women's History Month. And, you know, a lot of times for this, you know, they talk about first and this and whatever else. And, I mean, we might talk about some first as we go through this, but really I just kind of want to go talk about, I guess, the involvement of women in the military. For me, as I was doing research, kind of learned, you know, I kind of always thought of more of integration of women with the military and stuff around the Civil War time frame, you know, nurses and working in the camps and things like that. But, you know, as I did research, obviously women have been involved with the military kind of since the founding of the nation. As I was looking through facts, realized that Washington during the Revolutionary War had whole groups of female spies during that time frame and stuff. So it just kind of goes to show, I guess, for people who maybe thought, you know, women didn't integrate into our military until, you know, World War II or even sooner than that for some generations. But really, I mean, women have been an integral part. Obviously, roles have changed and evolved over the years, but they've really been an integral part since the founding of the nation.
Yeah.
You know, and so I know sometimes we don't always consider that. We don't always think about it like that, but they have been there, maybe not in the same capacity or the same duties that they have now, but they were there through everything. And of course, they also did, you know, still serve in nursing corps and things like that. Of course, the official nursing corps wasn't called the nursing corps for the Army and Navy until later on, somewhere early 1900s, 1907, 1905, 1908 time frame, Army and the Navy. But, I mean, they were there. Revolutionary War, Civil War, what was it, Spanish-American War? I think
you're better at that stuff than I am.
I think I had to double check that, but I'm pretty sure. But you know, they were there as administrators and spies. Man, we've been using females as spies for a long time.
I know. I knew about that, but whenever we were doing our research and stuff, I thought it was cool to see, like you were saying, how far back that females really went into being a part of the military, whatever capacity that they served in. And to me, it was crazy to realize and to learn that there were females who actually wanted to serve so bad that they disguised themselves as males.
Yeah.
And to think of that time period, to how could they get away with that for so long? And then, like, I don't, like, it's just cool though.
Well, one of the females that you were talking about, can't remember which war it was, but they didn't know she was a female until
she got wounded.
Until she got wounded.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, not a guy. And a lot of them would swap their names around. They would keep their names. Cathay Williams, I think, was one of them. And she swapped her name around to Williams, Cathay or whatnot.
Makes sense, yeah.
And so it sounded more
paperwork and like wasn't a big thing back. Like, I guess it was easier for them to get away with.
As long as you had something that, if you signed your name Williams then they were good. And as long as you kept everything in wraps and undercover or whatnot, then I guess, you know, they didn't question it. But that just goes to show, you know, how dedicated the women of the United States have been since, even when it seemed like they couldn't, they did, you know?
Yeah.
And that just shows how much patriotism and you know, that they are equal in the fight, you know? And of course, obviously, like I said, we've progressed, you know, past that point to the point, you know, where they are in combat arms and all that type of stuff. And they are shoulder to shoulder as they deserve and should be. You know, that's the point of it. Just as capable, just as functional. And, you know, this is where we've gone. But, you know, like I said, a lot of times we focus very much on our recent history when it comes to females in the military, because there has been so many breakthrough strides and changes, I guess, in a short time frame. But we should never not take time to recognize and appreciate all the females that were involved in the military. What was it? Something like 400,000 females deployed or were involved in World War II. I mean, that's a chunk of folks. Now, you know, you see pictures and stuff like that. And once again, a lot of people, I guess, generally relegate it back to like nursing corps, think of them doing admin work. But once again, there was a plethora of spies and, you know, supply and all these ancillary services and stuff. And then, of course, there was the groups that were, they were changing their documentation. They were fighting side by side type thing. I mean, support people fight side by side. I've always kind of not like that. Everybody's to the fight. If you're fighting, it's everybody. Whether you're admin or infantry or whatever,
what you're doing,
you're in the fight somehow. But yeah, just been an integral part of our history, not only as a nation but as a military, and we've pushed, and you know, South Carolina has made leaps and bounds as a guard, and you know, we've luckily we've had leadership that whenever new opportunities arose for female soldiers, they've backed them, they pushed them, and they've allowed them to follow where they really want to be in the military. And so we've had people in combat MOSs and infantry and, you know, the whole 9 yards, and it will only grow. I mean, I think people forget that a lot of that stuff, as we talk about our recent history, all that's still kind of in a very early stage of all that, but it will only grow, blossom, and aid the Guard military and the nation as a whole as we move closer or move further down the line with it. But I mean, there's a whole list out there of first, and like I said, just doing our research of all the different people, not just from the South Carolina National Guard, but like I said, from our entire history. Back to the Revolutionary thing, I just popped back in my head. But one of they didn't give the young lady's name, but it was Agent, I think 355 or something was the agent's actual name. That was a female that was one of Washington's like primary spies and stuff. You can double check that. That's what Google's for. Double check me on that. And if I'm wrong, if I'm off by a number, by all means, don't skewer me on it. But you know, this is a good opportunity for people out there who listen that maybe don't know enough or you know, are interested but didn't realize of how much of effect or an involvement in the military or women have had in our military. Hopefully, this sparks some interest.
Yeah,
and you start looking. Real life story, not from our Guard, but young lady you were deployed with.
correct.
2005-ish time frame was
Well, that's not whenever I was deployed with her.
right.
That's
but
when she deployed.
did she deploy?
Yes.
You were
I was in probably middle school.
okay. You deployed with her later on,
Yes.
but she got the Silver Star.
I want to say yes, but I can't remember.
I think it was Silver Star. That's what we're going with. I'm about 99% sure that's what we're reading and what we're talking about. But that was the first female at that point in time, and then 3 years later, another female was awarded the same award. So yeah, I mean, it just shows that. And the cool thing about this for anybody out there, male, female, whatever, is you have so many of these groundbreakers. Obviously not from way back when, but a lot of them are still here and with us.
Yes.
Definitely from recent wars. There's still some World War II vets out there, Vietnam, Korea, or whatever. And so you have an opportunity potentially to meet or interact with these people and tell their story. I was at the Battle of the Bulge event, and I wish I could remember the young lady's name that was talking to me and exactly what it was, but she was one of the first females in an MOS. I know they don't call them MOSs in the Navy, ratings, I think, for females. It had something to do with some of the sonar technology. Some of the Navy stuff escapes me as far as exactly what the job does, but it was something that she had wanted to do, like from when she was a child, and the opportunity presented itself, and she took it. And you know, that type of stuff's awesome. Not only is it inspiring, but it shows that it can be done and that it is effective, and that they shouldn't. Once again, for the whole course of our history, for people to think, oh, this is a new thing for women to be involved in the military, or this is no. Listen, they have been integral into the
There's
military.
a lot more to the story that you don't know.
Right. And I think a lot of times we do that with things. We kind of snapshot where we are, and we think, oh, this is groundbreaking. This has never been done before, which there is some of that happening, or, why is this changing, type thing. They haven't done this before. Oh, they have. They built this nation, we as Americans, we built this nation, whether you're male, female, whatever, we built this nation. Now, one of the cool ones that I saw was, it might have been the William Cathy or Cathay William lady, but she was actually a Buffalo soldier. She was the only female Buffalo soldier. At least that's what the research was telling me.
Okay.
Now, if I'm incorrect on that, by all means, make a comment and correct me. But this is also an opportunity for people to join in the discussion on YouTube and stuff with us and our social media as we move through the month, to share stories like this, because obviously, we have a very limited amount of knowledge and things on this that we can gather and cover and stuff like that. And y'all might have more stories, and you might have stories about your own mom or your daughters, your aunts, or uncles.
Your aunts, your grandmothers, your nieces.
It's just so automatic to say aunt and uncle together.
I know.
Like, it's just boom right there. But yeah, I mean, and all that, and that's what this is about. It's not about singling any personal achievement out over the next or anything like that. It's really more the thought of all of us actually recognizing that we've all been in this, and we're all going to stay in this, and it's only going to evolve and benefit the state and the nation and then the military and everything and the citizens of the United States and as a whole.
Yeah.
And that's the goal of it. Now, obviously, I have a different perspective as I'm doing research for obvious reasons. But as you were doing research on this and you were seeing some of this stuff about the females and their involvement in the whole entirety of our military, I mean, did you have any thoughts or emotional responses or anything like that? I mean, so some people might have emotional responses. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a very emotional person all the time, but some people might have emotional responses.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of asked that question oddly.
I think it was cool because, like you were saying, I'm not a history buff. I don't remember everything that I've ever been told or taught. And it's cool to just look at how things started to where they are now and how they evolved over time and the different stories that led us from that point to this point. And it just blows my mind that how they just did stuff. Like, if they wanted it, they went for it. They didn't let anybody. I mean, there probably were issues and stuff like that came up, but I mean, women have paved a way for years and years, and I feel like there's more to come. There's more to grow from it, and reading that kind of inspires me to want to do better, to be a better soldier in the military, and to share those stories with people younger privates and airmen and all that you interact with, to show them where the history came from and how the road has been paved to get to where we are now. So it was very interesting to me. I'm sure that there was so much more information that we probably could have did more research on.
We
we just touched it.
We tipped the iceberg coming through on this.
But I love learning about new stuff. Granted, I can't sit here and tell you verbatim everything I've read or all that. I literally would have to take notes and refer to them and stuff, but I'm not like you. I can't spit out times and dates and names, and I'm not good at that stuff. But it's so interesting just to see how everything has evolved, and not just women in the military, but just the military, the United States, just like everything that we're a part of. It's just amazing and crazy to see how things were back then, and how, I mean, we were talking about in the office the other day about them hand making appliances and stuff, and nowadays you just go and you buy an appliance.
It's just assembled and gone. I think you make an interesting point there, and I think it's always important for anybody who's part of organization, especially the military. You mentioned heritage and lineage, and that's part of understanding where and why the females were involved in the military, because that does build a direct connection for current female soldiers of a lineage. A lineage. You can. It's not a direct relationship, but you can basically date a relationship from where you are currently in the military all the way back to the Revolutionary War. You say this spy, this agent or whatever, or these nurses or whatever, this is where they started, and I'm here because
Of all that.
all that type thing. And I think that's a huge thing. It makes you feel included. It brings a certain amount of pride, and I think that is the whole point of this month, and the fact that we take time to recognize that, and or the nation does. It's not just a military thing. It's let me specify, it's not just our month. We didn't lay claim to it. But and I think that's awesome. I think that's, like I said, hugely important for you to have that point A and point B connection, and everybody that came in between. Matter of fact, you wouldn't think about it, but if you check it out on YouTube, and if you're not on YouTube, yeah, check it out. But we've already done the thumbnail for this podcast event.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's very cool because it kind of gives you. It's very subtle, and it's very clean, whatever, but it does give you that idea of that point A to point B of female soldiers or female military members, because the Army doesn't have a monopoly on females. Navy, everybody, Marines, Air Force. So super awesome stuff. I'm glad we were able, take some time and talk about it. Obviously, I mean, you do a whole month worth of shows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because you decided you want to do this awesome 31-day video challenge thing, I mean, we are going to be pushing out some pretty cool podcasts of special guests and things like that to talk about their experiences and how they got to where they are now, and tips, tricks, advice, all that kind of fun stuff. So I know I keep picking on you about it. When we first started talking about this, I definitely was overwhelmed, but now looking at a calendar with everything laid out and like checking things off, like it's not as bad, but I just still, it's a lot for us every day.
I have faith in us.
I know we'll do it. I was a little scared before.
It's not unusual. I'm used to it by now.
Yes.
I can change the temperature in the office and have the same result out of you.
That's
2 degrees. No.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Not really, but yeah. So we'll be having content all the rest of the month. Hope you enjoyed this little bit of information. It was very, very little bit of information about, more as an acknowledgement and kind of a thank you more than anything, and just mentioning a couple key points throughout history. But obviously, there's mass amounts. I mean, we could do shows upon shows just about the females and female in South Carolina National Guard. No problem. So by all means, don't think this was an all-inclusive, we tied it all up in a neat bow about women's involvement in the military through the history of the United States, by no means. But, definitely a nod and a thank you. And for some of those folks out there, maybe hopefully reinvigorate you, maybe educate you a little bit to realize, hey, this has been a long-term thing, and it will continue to be a longer-term thing.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah. Longer-term thing.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Have it, watch it progress.
Yes. Watch it progress. So, that's a good deal. It's a good deal. Make sure you're keeping up with this month. We got all kinds of stuff. So, I'll take care of this part of it. So,
sweet.
So,
you take the lead.
I'll take the lead on this one.
All right.
Make sure you definitely, if you haven't hit it yet, hit the notification button on YouTube, because we're going to be pumping stuff out all March long, and you're going to know. You think you don't want to know, but you're going to know. There's going to be some important stuff, on there. I mean, we're how-tos and competitions and our podcast and know your mills. I mean, we're trying out new styles and new content, which gives all y'all, the listeners and the viewers, an opportunity to say, hey, we really like this. Like the how-to stuff, y'all might say, hey, this is awesome. Like, this is good for us, our soldiers, leadership, whatever, because y'all are finding the subject matter experts for us and showing us how to maybe PMCS.
I was gonna say,
Something.
don't give.
I wasn't going to give it all away.
Okay.
I was just going to say I wasn't even going to say that was going to be a topic, but maybe there could be some vehicle related stuff. Maybe, who knows? But it could be. And if that's the kind of stuff y'all like, give us the feedback. Whether it be on YouTube, I know there's some stuff messed up with YouTube comments right now, but we have other social medias that you can reach back to us on and say, hey, really like that video stuff, or hey, we would like to do a video like that with y'all. And that's the point of it. So make 100% sure you hit the notification button. We are climbing in viewers or subscribers. We're in that last 100 range here.
I know, guys. Like I have everything ready for this blooper video.
The blooper video is ready. I mean, it really is ready. We just got to hit that mark. I mean, we're tracking that way. So let's run it on out. Go ahead and get March, easy time frame.
Yeah, especially since we're putting stuff out
every day. We're putting out stuff easy. No problem hitting 500. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. So yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thumbs up.
You sound like me whenever I was trying to.
One day I hope to be a real public affairs person.
Clearly we're hiring now since you played that joke on me a while ago.
We are hiring, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button, follow us, check us out on iTunes and YouTube, and that's going to be it for this episode, and we'll catch you in the next one.